ほう、向かってくるのか。逃げずにこのディオに近づいてくるのか。
What's up, everybody? Just thought I'd share my thoughts on some of the figure news and announcements for the month of March. So if you want to do some window shopping with me, we're gonna start off with the Nendoroids. The pre-orders for Papyrus and Komi went up, so we got a look at their other faceplates. I wasn't planning on getting Komi, but how can you say no to that face? Papyrus, on the other hand, wasn't too tempting on his own, but putting them side by side, I think they look hilarious together, so I couldn't resist either. Honestly, I think Papyrus fits with almost any figure, so we'll have to test that out when he releases. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this right, but we have Hero, a Chinese VTuber. She is absolutely adorable. I also really like her snarky ass face as well as her drooling one, so I think this is a solid Nendoroid to get, even if you've never seen her before. Speaking of VTubers, we also got Otaku and Korone. I already have them as pop-up parades, but my wallet's been pretty loose lately, so I'm gonna do my best to not order them. Of course, we have a bunch of other Hololive members, and all their designs are great, so I'm sure these will be very popular and turn out really nice. The most shocking Nendoroid is Jabami. In the first picture, she looks pretty standard for Nendoroids, but then she also comes with her iconic ecstasy face, as well as the Stuff of Nightmares, which I don't know how you can sleep with this in your house. I think the Gacha gods have failed us, cause Venti from Genshin Impact looks pretty disappointing. I think they could have made the faces a lot more expressive. The ones they chose just feel so soulless. I know it's a freaking toy, but like still. I don't even know why they chose the one on the far right. That's like a pose every character in the game does, so it's not very unique at all. In the game, they actually have unique emotes for every character, so I don't know why they didn't just base the Nendoroids off that since they're already so similar. Like, these just have way more personality than the ones they chose. We also have Sleeping Beauty in this cardboard box, making it look like a Happy Meals toy. I'm sure everybody has been waiting for a Predator Nendoroid. Then we also got Lena from 86. I actually think these two kind of look pretty good together. Lena's just like, come with me if you want to live. I don't play Arknights, but I think this one is adorable. I'm so curious to see how they transform this artwork into a Nendoroid. I don't know if anybody else is hyped, but there's gonna be a Ruby anime made by a Japanese studio. As someone who thought Ruby had a lot of potential but it just kind of fell off, the fights in Ruby have always been awesome, so it'll be interesting to see if this carries over. But with that, we also got the announcement of a Ruby Nendoroid. The anime is going to have an original story, so it's probably going to be winter themed given the name Ice Queendom. So you can see Ruby has a snowboard and winter gear. But if that's not cool enough for you, we're also getting pop-up parades of all the girls in their new outfits. Wise being a total ice queen, Blake in a very spicy outfit, and Yang in a ponytail. So if this series turns out good, I'll probably get Wise and Yang. But with that, let's talk about the other pop-up parades. I remember kind of shitting on Blackrock Shooter Dawnfall a bit in my other videos, but I actually kind of like this figure. I don't know, it just kind of has that old school edgy anime vibe that I grew up with.
Here I go! This hand of mine is burning red! Its loud roar tells me to grasp victory! Erupting, burning finger!
Speaking of mech shows, we finally get to see long-haired Rei from Evangelion colored. I prefer the Mega House one, but I think this one's solid if you're on a budget. It looks like they'll be doing an alternate version of Tanya the Evil, which is pretty cool. We have Mami from Madoka Magica, an anime staple and classic. Great show if you haven't seen it. I'm kind of considering this one because she was a part of one of the most iconic and crazy moments in anime. But I'm on the fence because if you've seen the show, you know she doesn't get a lot of screen time for obvious reasons. Then we have a bunch of pop-up parades for Reincarnated as a Slime. This was a series that just didn't really click with me, but I do think these look pretty nice and I might get one for obvious reasons. And to no one's surprise, we have another Hololive figure. But I think it's about time we talk about the fancy stuff, in other words, the scales and pricier figures. And it doesn't get much pricier than a life-size scale of a Hololive VTuber. But if you're a peasant like me, they'll also be making a 1/7 scale of Gura. But this wasn't the only 1-to-1 scale this month, we also had one for Atelier Sophie. But just like Gura, she's also getting a 1/7 scale. I really like the way they made her float by using the book stacks instead of just giving her a stupid support rod. And if you're looking to go broke, you can also get the one made by Alter. But if you want to speed run bankruptcy, you can also get the $1,000 Spider-Man figure, the 66,000 yen or a $535 Ghost Bride, the 42,000 yen Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, or the Square Enix quarter scale, which I'm sure will also be just as absurd. I do really like the way they did Alphonse here. He just looks really intimidating, almost like a villain. I would love to own all 4 of these, but I think they're way too pricey for consideration. Eastream making a grayscale version of Gojo, which honestly doesn't look that different. We also have this Arknights figure, which looks pretty dope, but the line is probably going to drive up the cost. And a way too early to tell figure for Dorohedoro. It's 1/6, so it's probably going to be expensive. We got a tease of another figure, originally designed by the artist Neko. Love his other figures, so definitely going to keep an eye out for this one. I think League fans have been getting pretty spoiled lately. They're also getting a Zoe figure, as well as Zaya and Rakan. We got a Pokemon Arceus figure. I think the base looks super sick, but Arceus itself looks kind of whatever. Alter has been making these Azure Lane figures with 2 different versions, which is pretty awesome because it's a lot easier on the wallet. I wish more companies would do that, but like it nearly doubles the price for these Alter figures, which is absurd. If all you care about is a nice looking figure, I think Myethos provides the most bang for your buck. You can get this 1/7 scale figure for only 16,400 yen on Nami. That's like $130 for such an elaborate and beautiful figure. On the other hand, you have the 1/7 scale Miku by Furyu, which is 32,780 yen. That's $265, more than double the Myethos figure. So unless you're a big Miku fan, the other figure is just such a better value. But if money's not a problem, I do really like this Miku. I love the panda. The colors and everything just gives off such a peaceful and calm vibe to it. On the other hand, I think this Miku is just cool as hell. Can't wait to see this one turned into a figure. If I had to choose between these two, I would definitely lean towards this one a bit more. I just tend to go with the cooler or more badass looking figure in my opinion. This holo figure finally got colored. I still think the grass looks a little prickly and kinda just awful. We got a Mega House figure of Mari simping over Asuka's little tush. This was a stupid show, but I really enjoyed Girlfriend. So I think these are super disappointing. These just look like your typical generic anime girl, and it just doesn't capture any of the absurdity or silliness of the series or characters. I'm really conflicted on this figure because Midi is just such a tragic character, but they made this like so cute and like happy. Like, I don't know. I couldn't have this on my shelf. I would never buy this, but I think this one is pretty spicy. Definitely gets my seal of approval, but she is from a Chinese series called Fox Spirit Matchmaker. I usually don't care about ReZero figures, especially Rem and Ram, but these ones have spotlights so you can have your own little rave party. I usually don't care about grayscale figures, but this one's pretty neat because it fits with the original material. I do think the lightsaber could pop out a little bit more. We have a very cute Amioji figure. These are made by NetEase, so they're usually not too expensive, so I might consider this one. Aniplex has this insane cel-shaded Demon Slayer figure. The water dragon just looks amazing. I think this one might be my favorite Tanjiro figure so far. But let's talk about my favorite figure of the month, which is Senhime from Amioji. This sea princess is a 1/4 scale figure made by Annie Mester, and she retails for $421 US. I think the figure speaks for itself. I think she just drowns out the competition this month. She is 50 centimeters tall, so she is definitely going to stand out in a collection. But there's no way I can afford it or justify it, so she earns the Holy Grail status. I'm a little unfamiliar with the series, but this is from the Executioner and Her Way of Life. I absolutely love how dynamic the hair sculpt is. Next, we have a bunch of figures from Grand Blue Fantasy. I've been wanting to get into Grand Blue Fantasy because I think the character designs are top notch, but now it's really on my to-do list because these figures are absolutely amazing. This first one is Silva. I absolutely love her. I'm not 100% sure I'm gonna get her in case she's crazy expensive, so I'm like 99% sure. Similar to Silva, we have Vera looking very elegant and fancy, and it looks like she comes with an additional expression. I do wish they were able to incorporate the roses onto the figure more. She's still very nice, but I'm definitely going to go with the first one. But these are going to be made by Apex, and they are 1/7 scale. Interestingly enough, all these Grand Blue figures are going to be made by different companies and different scales. So the next one is Siegfried at a 1/6 scale by Prisma Wing. He's looking pretty cool, but yeah, he's probably going to be pretty pricey. Then we have Narmaya. I believe she's one of the more popular characters at a 1/7 scale by Ami Ami. Looks like they're going pretty nutty with the effect parts. Then we have Belial at a 1/8 scale. And from this, it looks like Cygames themselves, the actual game company, is going to be making him. He's looking pretty spicy, and we don't usually get a lot of male characters, so this one might be one to keep an eye out for. Same thing goes for Percival here, which is actually going to be made by Alter, so you know the quality is going to be pretty high along with the price tag. But if you don't want to break the bank for Grand Blue, Furyu is also making 2 prize figures. And with that, I think it's a good point to talk about some other prize figures and miscellaneous things. Spy Family is one of my favorite manga series at the moment. I definitely want a figure from it. I'm a little hesitant on jumping the gun though, because the anime is about to start airing, so I'm sure we're gonna get a bunch of figures. This one's really nice, but it's a lottery prize figure, so hopefully it's not too hard to get. I'm addicted to Elden Ring, so obviously I'm going to be hyped for anything Elden Ring related. Figure art minis are kind of weird. They're really small, but they're kind of posable. This month they showed off some Jujutsu Kaisen ones as well as Dr. Stone, but you can see on Kohaku you can move her head and arms a little bit. I don't have any of them, so I might be curious to get one just to see what it's like. Plum also showed off a few of their figures. I really like their Yuri Camp one, so if you're a fan of Nekupara or quintessential quintuplets, I think these are pretty cute and affordable. Which also reminds me of these weird quintuplet figures of phone holders, but they're in like bunny suits, I don't know. I really liked Miwa from Jujutsu Kaisen, so I'm really happy she got a prize figure. Furyu also made Anya as a noodle stopper. I really love this one because of the mischievous face. They also have a couple of Jujutsu Kaisen stoppers with their outfits from the ending. I think the Itadori one is brilliant just because he's actually eating noodles. As I mentioned before, I don't play Arknights, but these mini chess piece figures are adorable. I don't know what series this is from, but I'm so curious how stable that figure is. The last thing I want to mention is this model kit of Rengoku, which I think is very silly. Usually model kits don't look the greatest for human characters, but I'm very curious to see how that turns out. Naturally, there were a lot of figures I missed or just didn't have time to talk about. I'm gonna try to be a little more thorough and organized next month, but I was having a lot of trouble since my figure collection kept crashing and just not working. But feel free to talk to me about anything down in the comments. But as always, thanks for watching, subscribing would be awesome, and I hope to see you on the next video. Bye bye.